Terry Reid, whose full name was Terrence James Reid, was born on November 13, 1949, in the English village of Little Paxton. Known for his extraordinary vocal range, he earned the nickname Superlungs and carved out a unique niche in the world of rock and soul music. Although he never achieved the same commercial fame as many of his peers, Reid became a deeply respected figure whose influence extended far beyond record sales. His solo work, collaborations, and the famous opportunities he chose to walk away from all contributed to his mystique in the music world. Reid grew up in Bluntisham and studied at St. Ivo School in nearby St. Ives. Even from a young age, he was passionate about music, which led him to leave school at 15 and dive headfirst into performing with local bands, including the Redbeats. His career took a major leap forward when Peter J. invited him to join Peter J. and the Jaywalkers. The band's inclusion as a supporting act on the Rolling Stones' 1966 British tour put Reid in front of large audiences and opened doors within the industry. Around this time, he met Graham Nash of the Hollies, a connection that would prove important later. The Jaywalkers had modest success with the 1967 single, The Hand Don't Fit the Glove, but the band eventually split. Reid moved forward as a solo artist under the guidance of producer Mickey Most, releasing his debut album Bang Bang, Your Terry Reid in 1968. He toured the U.S. with Cream and played major music festivals like the Miami Pop Festival, further building his reputation. One of his earliest compositions, Without Expression, which he wrote at the age of 14, gained widespread recognition through covers by artists such as the Hollies, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and John Mellencamp. Reid's career is often remembered for the monumental chances he passed up. When Jimmy Page was forming a new band, soon to become Led Zeppelin, he offered Reid the lead vocalist position. Reid, however, was already committed to touring with the Rolling Stones and Cream, so he declined. Instead, he recommended Robert Plant and John Bonham, both of whom became rock legends. Later, Reid would also turn down Ritchie Blackmore's offer to join Deep Purple. These decisions earned him a reputation as the man who turned down superstardom, yet they also showed his ability to shape the course of rock music behind the scenes. In 1969, Reid was still very active, touring with acts like Fleetwood Mac and Jethro Tull, and again supporting the Rolling Stones in the U.S. However, he did not perform at the infamous Altamont concert. His relationship with Mickey Most deteriorated around this time due to creative differences. Most wanted Reid to pursue a career as a pop balladeer, but Reid stayed true to his musical vision. Their disagreements led to legal conflicts, and Reid's recording output slowed, though he continued to tour in America. By the 1970s, Reid had become interested in broader musical styles. His friendship with Brazilian artists Gilberto Gil and Caetano Veloso brought Latin influences into his creative orbit. After signing with Atlantic Records, Reid released the album River in 1973, featuring top-tier musicians like David Lindley and Alan White. While the record was praised by critics, it didn't perform well commercially. Decades later, material from these sessions was rediscovered and released in 2016 as The Other Side of the River. In 1976, Reid released Seed of Memory, produced by his friend Graham Nash. The album was met with positive reviews, but was undermined by the sudden collapse of ABC Records. He followed it up with Rogue Waves in 1979, once again working closely with bassist Lee Miles. Despite the commercial hurdles, Reid's fanbase remained loyal, drawn to his rich voice and artistic honesty. During the 1980s, Reid scaled back on solo projects and focused more on collaborating with other musicians. He lent his voice to albums by Don Henley, Jackson Browne, and Bonnie Raitt. In 1991, he released The Driver, produced by Trevor Horn. The album included a version of Gimme Some Lovin', which gained attention after being featured in the Tom Cruise movie Days of Thunder. A brief project in 1993 saw him form a band called The Flu with Joe Walsh and Nicky Hopkins. Tragically, their only performance marked Hopkins' final stage appearance before he passed away. In the early 2000s, Reid's live performances began to reignite interest in his work. A key moment was his 2002 appearance at the WOMAD Festival with Lee Miles. This show sparked a revival of Reid's performing career. He began playing smaller, more intimate venues like the 100 Club and Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, where his raw, spontaneous sets became must-see events. A live album from this era, Live in London, captured the energy and authenticity of these performances. Reid also graced stages at larger events, such as the Glastonbury and Isle of Wight festivals. At the same time, reissues of his earlier albums, Superlungs, Seed of Memory, and River, brought his music to new listeners. In Los Angeles, his regular Monday night gigs at the Joint, dubbed Big Monday, became legendary hangouts for rock royalty. It wasn't uncommon for musicians like Robert Plant, Keith Richards, Roger Daltrey, and Eric Burdon to join him on stage, affirming his status as a true musician's musician. Reid's songs found a second life in cinema and television, gaining appreciation from younger fans. Tracks like Dean and Faith to Arise were used in films including The Devil's Rejects, Wonderland, Up in the Air, and Win It All. Reid even made a small on-screen appearance as a golf caddy in The Greatest Game Ever Played. Behind the scenes, his friend and producer Chris Johnson played a key role in getting his music into films and re-energizing his career during this time. Never one to stick to a single sound, Reid kept exploring new musical partnerships. He worked with the French trip-hop group Shine and lent vocals to DJ Shadow's track Listen. A duet with Alabama 3, titled All God's Children Need Dancing Shoes, was recorded but never officially released. These collaborations showed Reid's constant evolution and his unwillingness to be confined to one genre. In his later years, Reid faced serious health issues. After being diagnosed with cancer, he was forced to cancel his 2025 tour. On August 5, 2025, his death was publicly announced, closing the chapter on a long and influential, albeit understated, musical career. At the time of his passing, Reid's estimated net worth stood at $5 million, earned through music, performances, licensing, and business ventures. Terry Reid leaves behind a powerful artistic legacy defined by principle, innovation, and soul. He may never have become a global household name, but his voice and compositions deeply impacted artists across generations. Aretha Franklin once captured his cultural stature when she said, "There are only three things happening in England: the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and Terry Reid." His songs were covered by notable names like Joe Perry, Cheap Trick, and Chris Cornell, who in 2020 recorded a haunting rendition of Reid's To Be Treated Right. Survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren, Reid's story is a testament to staying true to one's creative path. With 7 studio albums for live albums and countless collaborations to his name, his influence resonates far and wide. Terry Reid's legacy is one of authenticity, soulful expression, and a voice that continues to echo through the music world. And with that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.